Let's go.
תודה רבה, תודה רבה צדיק, תודה רבה. שלום, שלום לכולם. Rabbi Shai, is this thing on at Facebook now? Right. Okay, good. Thank you. Shalom lekulam. I hope all is well, as they say. I believe everyone is well. From Yerushalayim, Boltina Kadisha, we are well. We continue with our limud on halachot according to Ben Shkai. Yesterday we left off at halacha Gimel. We continue, we proceed with halacha Dalet, number 4. It reads as follows. It is written in Keter Malchut that before each meal, one should recite a Tehillim, Psalm 23, which has 57 words in it. 57 words in it, corresponding to the numerical value of the Hebrew word zan, sustenance, symbolizing our request that the material and the spiritual sustenance should not fail us. One should also recite a Kabbalistic prayer. Yerava minha min minikodam tika kadisha. Yehera ava min kodam tika kadisha. We are familiar with this. Follow it by the verse.
I'm hiding.
Baruch Hashem. Follow it by the verse 5 of Shir Ashirim. Sorry. It should appear to me that one should recite these prayers before washing one's hands, including Leshem Yichud, meaning the Kavanah, which is recited before eating. Nevertheless, most people recite Psalms or Tehillim or Psalms 23 after washing their hands, before reciting Hamotzi. And even though some authorities do not approve this, and they consider it an interruption, it is not necessary to prevent them from continuing their custom. As it always says, each one who should follow his custom. What is this black thing on here? I think I was shown here. No? Toda rabba, Rabbi. Thank you very much. As it says, everyone has to follow his custom. Halacha number 5. One should hold the bread with all 10 fingers when reciting the bracha, in order to symbolize the 10 mitzvot related to the production of bread, namely The sources have been provided. The sources have been provided in the page that I believe it was. I have sent these pages yesterday. First, in Devarim 22, the prohibition against plowing with animals of different species in one yoke. 2, in Vaikara, the prohibition against planting different species of plants together in one field. Vaikra 19. Lechet 4, Devarim 24. Shachicha 5, Vaikra 19, Peah 6, Devarim 26, Bikurim 7, Devarim 18, Bamidbar 8, Devarim 14, and the Bamidbar 18, Maaseh Rishon 9, Devarim 14, Maaseh Sheni and the Maaseh Ani 10, Bamidbar 15, Kala. These are the symbol behind the 10 fingers. Halakha requires us to hold the bread with the fingers. I used to watch closely to observe, not just watch, but observe my Rosh Yeshiva at his Shabbat table. If you would allow me to demonstrate, he does not hold the halot like this. Also, always with his fingers, and I was wondering, now, what is he doing? Now I understand. Not now that I understand, but I understand more the reason why he's doing it. Well, he is teaching us halakha because that is what the halakha says. And the why fingers, we will see, best of Hashem. We know what it means because fingers, I have learned from my Rosh Yeshiva, fingers are conduit of the light from the higher world to the lower world. And we know that it's Zah who is called heaven, is only Zah that has got arms. So the arms of Zah is reaching the Malchut. So the hands of men, particularly the fingers, they are conduit, and you can see that they are corresponding to 10 Sefirot as well. We go ahead with the halakha. Halakha number 5 continues. The 10 fingers also symbolizes the 10 categories of work, as defined with regard to Shabbat, from plowing to baking. For this reason, also there are 10 words in a bracha hamotzi, and the 10 words in a verse Tehillim 145, verse 15, Ashrei. We know that. It's a famous, we recited that every day, every God's day. Everyone's eye are turned in hope to you, and you give them their food in its time. Everyone. You know, there are so many of us in our world We met so many people in our world. People with a gava, people meaning people of arrogance, who wants always to give an impression that they are responsible for your well-being. This is unfortunate. It's a contradiction to what Allah says. It's a contradiction to what the Torah says. It says man had nothing when he came to the world, and he takes in nothing when he leaves the world. Welcome, Salty. Welcome, welcome. Rabbi Akiva, before you just sit down, what's happening here? Yeah, I just accepted it. Yes. Yes, because yeah, well,
you see yourself over here, no?
You wanted to see yourself. Oh, another one here, Cecilia. Welcome, Cecilia. Welcome, Cecilia. We are still we are continuing where we have left off yesterday on halakha or on halachot. We are now on halakha number 6. Halakha number 6 reads as follows: one should draw out the pronunciation of the hair in the word hamotzi slightly, and they stress it as if one were saying ha motzi, allowing oneself sufficient time to imagine the word as if it were written with two hairs, as required by our teacher, the Alzar. Initially, what is he saying here is, when you find that there are a number of people when they recite the bracha for bread, amotzi, yes, amotzi lechem haaretz. Halakha dictates, no, this is not appropriate. You emphasize the first day before the word motzi. Ha motzi lechem haaretz. Ha motzi lechem haaretz. Why? There is a sort to that. One of the sort is ha motzi lechem haaretz, meaning the first hay of the word of the name Havaya, because we know that everything originates from the first Havaya. I mean the first Havaya, meaning Bina. So that therefore that hay in that bracha should be emphasized as if you are pronouncing two hays, but it's just one. There is a sort to it. Shalom, shalom, Salti. Welcome. Continue with the halakha. As one recites the word hamotzi, one should hold the bread upright in one's hand and they lift it slightly. Many people hold the chalot like this, like this. As you can see my hand, just like this. Hamotzi lechem. And that is it. No. Halakha says they must be upright. They must be upright. And at the end, after you have finished, not after you have finished, at the end of that bracha, when you say lechem min haaretz, the top of the chalot, that is what you dip into the salt. Halacha continues. One should be careful to pause slightly between the last mem of the word lechem and the mem of the following word, min haaretz. Slightly. It's not like the way. I'm not being judgmental. I'm learning halacha and I teach halacha to the best of my ability. The Chazal are not ordinary people to be taken lightly. When they say pause a bit, you have to do that. They have got reason why. They have got the reason why they did that. If you follow Rabbi Shimon, when he's teaching on the Pirkei Avos, of course, we all learn it from Rabbi Pinker, the Rosh Hashiva, that when you look at the generations of the Chazal, how the Torah was transmitted, you would find that every generation of this Chazal, they are connected to a specific sephira. So when you read, whether you read in Talmud, Mishnah, know exactly who is talking. And when you know, then you will be able to know why that is specific. Either is a Rishonim, or is a Amora, or we go back to Tanaim. We must know why they say what they have said. As we know, we keep on emphasizing it on many occasions. If you find an Amora that contradict a Tanaim, one of the Tana or Tanaim, be assured that there is something wrong with that Amora. So the Sephirot are not in a contradiction. They cannot contradict each other. So it's not just about going, browsing through the bracha. No, follow the dictate of the Chazal. Halakha continues. Okay, Halakha continues. If one is wearing gloves, one must remove them before reciting bracha, in order that both hands actually touch the bread. And I do not know why one should have the gloves after you have performed Netlash Yadayim. And I do not know why you have to have gloves, because the vessel that we usually, the common vessel that we usually use to perform Netilas Yadayim, most of those vessels have got two handlers, right? There is a specific reason why they have got two handlers. So that if it had only one handler, then it would be difficult to see whether one hand was really washed properly. So this is why, one of the reasons why it has got two handlers, to make sure that not only the defilement that is in the hand of man, or the clipot that are surrounding the hand of man, is passed to the other hand if it had only one handler. So even more so, why do you have to have? Why do you use the gloves after you have performed Netilas Yadayim, and then you put the gloves back again? Well, it doesn't really make sense, but it has got also halachical implications. We continue with the halacha. No, yeah, halacha Zayin 7. In order to demonstrate respect for the bracha, one should not cut into the loaf at the point where it became stuck to another loaf in the oven, because it appears as if a piece is missing. Neither should one cut into it where it has split open during baking, even if that is where it is baked best. That halacha is very clear. You know, there is also a bracha, there is also a halacha that I came across, that you cannot perform a bracha of bread on a half, on a broken bread. Meaning, like I have observed in other places, that particularly after the lunch, you go to Sheuda Shelishit. Some people would take the half bread that remained after the lunch, and then they recited the bracha. Halacha that I saw, I just forgot exactly where I saw it, but probably I wanted to believe that Ben Shchai is going to bring it forth. It must be complete. It must be complete. As a Ben Shchai is demonstration or teaching here, that don't cut where the two halachot, not the halachot, but the chalot were stuck to each other when they were in the baking process in the oven. No. Halacha continues. The head of the household usually recites a bracha motzi on behalf of all those present. It is permissible, however, to honor a guest by giving him to recite a bracha, motzi, and this is indeed the prevalent custom. Again, it's a minhag. A minhag is very, very. Rabbi Pinchas taught me that it's higher than halacha itself, and it's true. When you look at Ben Shchai's teaching, he says, everyone throughout, he would say, everyone should follow the custom, all his custom. The custom of his community, the custom of his family. We will end with halacha number 8. Halacha number 8 reads as follows. No, let me, there's one passage of halakha number 7. The head of the household should always cut into the bread first, even though there may be a guest at the table who is his senior. It's clear. Halakha number 8. When one eats alone, one should not cut a piece of bread smaller than a kazait. We remember the measurement of kazait. Kazait is just like an olive. As this would appear misery. There is a meaning in every action that we perform. Whether you are not performing as a mitzvah, there is a meaning. What we always learn from Rabbi Pinchas used to say, you don't need to ask, like our doctors in Umot Alam, what is your problem? Why did you come to see me? Oh, I thought you were a doctor, so why don't you just tell me what is wrong with me? In terms of Torah knowledge, you do not need to ask what is going on with the people and how much people know and how much they do not know. You only need to observe what they are doing. Once you know that, you don't need to become judgmental, of course. People learn, and we are all learning. This is a journey of learning, but you will know. So, in cutting is small. It's a sign that according to Ben Shchai here, appears that you are misery. Neither should one cut a piece larger than a keveza, and this would appear greedy. Better, is it better? Kebetza, no, betza. Yeah, kebetza, sorry, yeah. My beg pardon. This English thing.
It's terrible.
It's terrible, man, it's terrible. It says, even when you are going when you are invited to any meal, be careful about your midot. There are a number of us, assume this is this is the table, right? And the dishes are on the table. Or this is a plate of the chicken, or it's a bread. Be careful when you take bread. The first one that you take, the first one, don't jump around and say, no, this one. Do not have this double-minded or double mind. And be careful to take something bigger or larger, because you are telling somebody who you are. And what I've learned from Rabbi Pinchas, he said, take that is closer to you. Anything that is meaning from the plate, what is on your side is what you take. Do not take what is on the other side, far, that is a little bit far, in the plate, that is far from you. And when you take the plate, when you dish the food from whatever vessels to your plate, try to take a bit. Not like some of us, I wanted to generalize it so that I do not make anybody effective. It's a plate and it's just like a mountain Kilimanjaro. No, please. be moderate in action. So, halakha number 8 continues. However, on Shabbat, it is permissible to cut a larger portion in order to displace one's regard for Shabbat. Again, on Shabbat, there's an exception. But what I have explained before is when you are a guest. But when you are the Babayit, the master of the house, on Shabbat is different. By eating the meal with more appetite on that day, one may cut a larger portion on weekdays if one eats with one's family, and they intended to cut pieces, each one a kazait, for them from it. No one at the table may eat until a person cuts the bread. I beg your pardon. I repeat that. No one at the table may eat until a person who cuts the bread eats. Sometimes we overcome by the appetite for food. We don't eat food because we are hungry. We eat the food to perform a mitzvah. So our approach to food must also have a kavanah. It must be preceded with a kavanot. Otherwise, you are displaying the nature of your neshama. Probably it's not a neshama. It is therefore correct that a person who cuts the bread should first eat some of it and then give pieces to the other present. You eat first and then you give others. That's halakha. I went to one family. I waited. I performed Netilas Yadayim first because he said so. And after I returned to the table, immediately after Netilas Yadayim, I stood. I just stood there. And he performed Netilas Yadayim and he came. And he said, "Why are you still standing?" I just smiled. And they said, "I understand. I understand. You have got a very high respect." What am I saying? I'm not saying I'm master of all good to me dot. I'm learning. I'm learning and I'm learning every day. It's a very good to me dot until the master of the house take his position. Don't take a position at his table before he comes. Unless himself says, "Sit here." Don't take a chair before him. And if possible, this is my chidush, do not sit before he sits, unless he invites. My dear friend, if we will end here for today on halachot, Be'ezrat Hashem, we will continue on Yom Chamishi. Is there any question before we adjourn to our main limud for a few minutes? We have got only a few minutes left. Is there any question?
No, Rabbi, no question.
Toda rabba, toda rabba. I wanted to believe that all is clear, or assume that everything is clear. We are turning it to our main limud. Our main limud is based on humility. Humility is taught by Ramban. Ramban writing it to his son. Yesterday, I posed a number of questions. And because of time, we are not going to recap on those questions. But we will continue with the portion we have dealt yesterday. Portion number 17. The pages were sent to you yesterday. I believe you did not get rid of them. Ramban, writing it to his son. What was exactly the reason of writing it to his son? His son must have been a Chacham. How do I know that? The letter that he wrote is full and replete of many concepts that are derivative of sort, meaning they have got secret, hidden message in them. So I wanted to believe that if I write such a letter of lofty ideas, means that the person, the recipient, must have a corresponding or must at least a little bit lower than me. But he certainly is not an ignorant person. Having experience in a statecraft, as a bureaucrat, as they call us sometimes, public official, as I was, there is a different level of writing letters, depending to the level, the status of the recipient. Languages also differs. It's not just simply taking a page, a writing pad, and a pen, and they start writing. Some letters, it requires a deliberation of a month, or a month deliberation. The choice of word that you are going to use. Certainly, Ramban, being a Kabbalist, has he also used the same way, knowing exactly who will read this and which generation will read this letter, not only his son, but the generation of the Jewish people will read this letter. At what level will they be? Yes, he knows. Our Chachamim know exactly the generation after them. Why? How? Because the Torah, they learned the Torah at all levels. So therefore, for them, they know. Portion number 18. Oh, sorry, number 17. I wanted to continue with that. Even though we have dealt with it yesterday. I read it in Hebrew. Follow it in English if you can. Follow in Hebrew. Best in Hebrew. Ve'im mitipa'el bechokma. Mesil safa lene'emanim. Veta'am zekenim ikach. It translated as follows. If he takes pride in wisdom, let him understand that God may remove the speech of the most competent and take away the wisdom of the age. If he, who is he? It's you and I. If we take pride in our achievement of Torah learning, all our secular learning, do not take pride. Do not take pride at all. Even the king of Babel, Nebuchadnezzar, was deprived of human intellect. Did he not live at a certain level? Did he not live like an animal? Certainly he did. Was he a Jew? Not as far as I know. Maybe he was, maybe he was not, because there are some, but I wanted to believe that he was not. So it doesn't matter how much you have acquired. Do not take pride. I go to the commentary on something that we have left off yesterday. Before we crack down on a few words, particularly one word in the passage that I have just read. The passage that we did not cover yesterday is under the heading, the silent discourse. I read it to our hearing. When the righteous men of Shimunya implored Rabbi Yehuda, the prince, to send one of his choice disciples to be their Rav, Rabbi Yehuda recommended Rabbi Levi, Bar Sisai, known in the Talmud simply as Levi, a profound scholar and a brilliant orator. When the new Rav arrived in Shimunya, the people sought him with a great and they placed him on a platform, showered him with honor, and they placed him on a platform from which he would deliver his first Torah discourse. However, when Rabbi Levi opened his mouth to speak, no word came forth. His mind registered a blank. The people attempted to break the agonized silence by asking him questions, but the new rabbi did not respond. Humiliated, Rav Levi descended the dais and returned to Rabbi Yehuda. When he completed his journey home, his brilliancy and the wisdom returned. So what happened in Shimunya? Rabbi Yehuda, the prince, or asked Rabbi Yehuda, the prince. Rabbi Levi replied, Rabbi, I now realize that when I stood on that platform, I felt a surge of pride in my heart, and that erased all the Torah from my mind. Pride can, pride, what did it say? Pride can remove and erase your Torah, no matter how much Torah you have learned. Let's go a little bit to the passage we have learned in Hebrew. The passage that it says, Ve'im mitpaer bechachma, who boasts, if he boasts in a Hokhma. What is Hokhma? That's my word I wanted to end with. What is Hokhma? Let's play with the words and the letters. Right? Let's play. Let's play. The word Hokhma, as you can see on the board, this one, Hokhma, Het, Kaf, Mem, Hey. 4 letters. Let's see. And okay, let's see. But before we come to the word, before we come there, let me ask. We have learned from Rabbi Pinchas this morning, in the part of the afternoon, about this time between Pesach and the Shavuot. What did we learn? And how do we connect the word Hokhma to what was taught today by Rabbi Pinchas? Let's try to find out. Let's try to find out. Let's take the first two letters, okay? No, I beg your pardon, my apology. Let's take the second letter of the word Hokhma and the last word, meaning every second letter. We take a kaf and then we take hey. Kaf, hey. Do you remember that whenever particularly on brachot hasachar, that this word appears, many times appears, when the Kohanim are blessing, they use this word. Kaf has got a dot on top there. But the same word, the same letters. When you look at the gematria value of that word, it's in fact 25. 25. With the kollel is 26. As we can see, the kollel is 26. What is 26? 26 is the same gematria value of the name Havaya. You follow me? It's the same gematria value of the word Havaya. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. It's also equivalent to 26. So in other words, not another word. So the two letters, each second letters, you bring them together, they will form the word Ka, Kaf, Hey, which the gematria value is 25. With a kollel is 26, which is Havaya. It's the same gematria value as the name Havaya. Now, the second, it's a noise. Having used the two letters, let's look at the remaining letters. The remaining letters are Mem, Chet. Mem, Chet. What does it remind us of? We know Mem, the gematria value of the word, of the letter, Mem is 40. And the Chet is 8. The gematria value is 48. What does it remind us of? Number one, it reminds us of the 48 qualities to attain Torah. Right? But we can rearrange the positions of the letters to mean, follow quickly, Cham. Cham. What does Cham have to do with what does Cham do, or doing in the word Chacham? What is it doing there? The word Cham. Then to understand, we have it to the 48 plus the colon would give us 49. You do remember when Rabbi Pinchas's Limud speaks about this time period between Pesach and Shavuot. We count 7 weeks. 7 times 6. 7 times 7. It's exactly 49. Now, there are 50 gates of wisdom, or understanding, rather understanding. And the fifth one that we do not count, the fifth that we do not count, marks the Torah. What does it have to do with Cham? And what does it have to do with humility, with boasting? What does it have to do with anything? Of course, it does. One cannot reach that level of the 50th if one is unable to rectify every single day between this period, between Pesach and Shavuot. Every single day of this period, every week of this period, and every entire life of man is being tested by the concept and the idea of 70 kings. The 70 kings that we have just read, alluded to or are hinted to in Cham, in the word Cham, plus Kolel 49. They are all hinted there. My dear Chaverim, my time is up. We have learned something yesterday that I want to conclude with it on the letter of Rambam. Rambam, or the commentary, bring forth the pasuk in Yov. If you take pride in wisdom, bear in mind, it did not say Torah wisdom. Did not say that. Neither did it say any other wisdom. It only says wisdom. Why is this concept so generalized? Why is it a general, kind of a general application? Yes, we know there is wisdom among the nations. We know that. So do not, well, I grow at the feet of the sages of Africa, both traditional and politicians. you find at a tradition, at a traditional level, you find the people called the shaman, whether they are women or they are men. And the people, they have got such a very high degree of humility. And they don't take pride on what was passed, customary, that was passed, traditional, that was passed to them. They even say, it's not mine, it was given to me by my ancestors. But you and I, in this generation, as soon as I got to my, what is called? A degree. Sorry, I have got also my certifications. As soon as you got a degree, as soon as you get whatever imperishment the society can shower you with, we learned the Rabbi Levi's story. I wanted to climb on top of everybody's shoulder to show, yes, I am who I am. We claim even that. Do not boast in any wisdom given to you. No matter how much you have sweat for it, do not take the credit. But thank you very much for having given me the space to learn with you, to share with you. And the best of Hashem. Is there any question? I wanted to believe that if there is no question, everything will be subjected to to digestions. Well, it's very good to digest. Thank you very much for having given me this platform. Not you given me the platform, but you have given me the hearing. Besot Hashem, we shall meet on Yom Chamishi. Thank you very much, Sarti. Thank you very much, Cecilia. Hope to see you, to join you once again. Thank you so much. Yom Tov. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve Amen.
Amen.
So I'm too ignorant on this. No, I make a mistake.